Hey everyone, and welcome back to Schmindel Unlimited, the podcast for reviews, rants, and ramblings about books from our favorite way to get books, the Kindle Unlimited universe. I'm one of your hosts, Amity.
And I'm Lauren.
And I'm Steph. And this week we read The Deal by Elle Kennedy. And this was one of I read this. This is my second read of this book, and I loved this book. I loved this series. I was telling Lauren earlier, she even has one of those, like a book where it's
Little novella.
Yeah, like all of the guys from the first series 10 years from now, and it's hilarious. And this book is going to be on Amazon Prime as a TV series.
Is it the whole, all the books?
All the books are going to be on.
So
yes.
I'm assuming one book per season?
I assume so.
Hope so. Then it'll keep going for a little bit.
Yeah. Amazon's been doing a lot of book series too, because The Summer I Turned Pretty, this
Book Talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it.
So this
one.
Book
Talk.
I heard it might be lasting a little bit longer. So
fingers crossed.
I thought it was Sunday.
I don't know. It keeps changing.
I had like a pre-PA student shadowing me all week who is like 21 years old. So she was telling me like, what's up? I have no idea.
What's funny is they're all going to YouTube, which is so interesting.
Not Instagram?
Are we not Instagram, but YouTube. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, we grew up with that. That is.
I know. So that's interesting.
Welcome to our generation.
But before we get into this book, how has your week been, and what are you guys reading?
I feel like we, like the new year was on a Wednesday, and so it was like kind of fake. And then it was like the first full week back, and it was like kind of whatever. I feel like we have been smacked in the face with like, we're back full force. But yeah. I did get to start The Neighbor War by Katie Bailey.
Ooh.
It was the next one of that book, not the Quit List. I don't know. We read the first one.
Is it the Quit List?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't remember. I should have looked it up.
It's okay.
Anyways, I'm reading The Neighbor War, and it's very good, and I'm enjoying it. So
I've just been trying to keep my head above water this week, so not much happened besides preparing for this.
I had a big goal of rereading Fourth Wing. I bought the book at Target.
How'd it go? I
am not even one chapter in because I am back into school tutoring. I know.
They have the graphic audio.
I know, but I don't even know when I have time to listen to it because,
you're like doing dishes, cleaning the house, basically any time, all the time.
I'm with children, I think from 7:45, and then I tutor until 5:00. So I'm with children, so I don't
You could have it in one ear. It's on low. What they don't know won't hurt them.
The other thing I've done is I'll turn on a Peloton ride with no volume and the captions, and I'll listen to something else.
Oh, that's how I listened to Taylor Swift's newest album, Tortured Poets Department.
Okay.
I was listening to it on the Peloton with the thing.
I like doing so because I Peloton so often. I really like the scenic rides, and then I will do an audiobook that way too.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And it's very relaxed. I'm like, oh, that's what the Swiss Alps look like. Maybe one day I'll get there.
Yeah. So we're not reading much else, but we did read The Deal. So let's get into that.
So this is set at Breyer University, which is about an hour outside of Boston in Massachusetts. We start off with our female main character named Hannah Wells. She is a music major, and she is in an ethics class that basically the entire class failed, except Hannah, who got an A+. She has a crush named Justin Cole, and he's a football player that just transferred to the school. And
I think he's a wide receiver.
Yes, I think so. There's also another jock in her class by the name of Garrett Graham, who is our male main character. He is the star hockey player that got on campus, captain of the hockey team, acts like he's dumb, but he's really not, but he is a player. And he epically failed the midterm. And if he doesn't get his grade up, he's not going to be able to play. And on the way out of class, Hannah drops all her stuff. Garrett helps her pick it up, sees her midterm grade, and then begs her to tutor him. And she says no. He's not used to that.
Yeah.
He's not used to someone telling him no. We then cut to the hockey house and their debauchery. Um, Garrett walks up to his room and his
Fling
fling,
is waiting for him.
Puck Bunny, whatever you should call her, Kendall, is waiting in his room.
Also, what a name.
Yeah, I
Right.
know. Poor girl. So, they do their thing. And then at the end, she's getting way too attached, even though she doesn't know anything about him.
Yeah, and he says that. He's like, you don't know.
You don't know me. And he ends the fling and she leaves in her lingerie and a coat.
Trench
Because
coat.
that's how you do it. Trench coat. Do you guys
It's
have a
cold,
trench coat?
so
Do you have a trench coat?
I do
do.
not.
I use
Amity.
it with
Amity.
clothes.
Yeah. It's funny because the private school I teach at, all the kids have trench coats.
Oh, of course they do. And I'm sure they're designer.
Oh, definitely.
I got mine and it was vintage when I was in college. So it's like really vintage now. And it's teal and it's got like white polka dots on the inside.
Oh,
Pretty.
It was like my spring jacket that I thought I would get a lot of use out of. And then I never lived anywhere that I got dressed and needed a spring jacket. But now,
now you do.
We expect to see pictures in the spring.
I'm like figuring like it might work for Easter. With
Yes.
a fun
Yeah.
dress underneath, a pop of color.
Also, how was your first snow day, Amity?
We did. So we had a snow day. We had a total of about 2 hours of snow. It started as freezing rain, which is different than sleet, and I don't really understand the difference yet, but I'll figure it out. At least I was told this was freezing rain. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't think I know the difference.
No.
But then it was really snowing for about 2 hours. And so really honestly, like the whole time it was snowing, the girls and I were outside and we were having like a snowball fight with just the snow off my car, because of course it's not gathered enough that you can get it from the ground then. There was like a part of the street that they just must have missed when they were salting it. So the girls were able to make snow angels on the road because no one's out driving. We had so much fun. I mean, it was if you were like wanting, like that wake up and everything's white and beautiful and sparkly and with fluffy snow, like that was, certainly a disappointment, but we were from Florida. So this was so exciting. Even the next morning with the ice on everything, because like I said, it only snowed for about 2 hours. But then it went back to the freezing rain and ice. And even the ice on everything was so pretty. And it was just, such a novelty to us. Like I had to turn my car on, like remote start my car and leave it start for about 10 minutes, because it's an electric car. It's not like the engine gets hot.
Yeah.
But I needed the inside air blasting so that it could cool off, like warm up, I guess, the windows and the door and stuff so that the ice that was totally on my car could get melt close enough to melty that I could open the door because it was frozen shut. My windshield wipers were frozen in place. Like it was very
When you
icy.
were up north, did you ever do pull the windshield wipers up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's a trick that you pull your windshield wipers
off.
off the.
Yeah, I, wasn't too prepared. I did have to move my car so that Brian in the four-wheel drive car could take Hayden to dance.
Ah.
My defrosters were doing all they could, but it had been 10 minutes. And I was like, you know what? Like, let's see. So I, just backed it out and then pulled it back in the driveway using exclusively the cameras. Because that's all I had, like that's all I could see with. But luckily those were working. So, but it was fun. It was, different and fun, and I enjoyed it a lot. So
we had a stretch of like 50-degree weather. It was wonderful.
I know you're both in sweatshirts right now.
I know.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty cold this week too, like this upcoming week.
I'm sweating because we're drinking tea.
Yeah. Lauren made us some tea before our
Oh,
recording.
nice.
We're getting ready for bedtime.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, back to our story.
Pardon the
Sidetracked.
interruption.
We then cut back to Hannah, who is rehearsing with Cassidy, who imagine like Uber diva, but a straight dude.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a douche. And then MJ, who is a songwriter, because there is a winter showcase, and whoever wins gets a $5,000 scholarship. So Hannah really not only wants, but needs to win this. We then learn a little bit about Hannah's history. Um, Trigger warnings, people. She was raped at a party at the age of 15. So now, like, she doesn't really go to parties. She does not drink at parties whatsoever. But her best friend asks her, like, please, you need to go see people. Let's go to this frat party. And Justin will be there
The guy she's been crushing on, the wide receiver she's been crushing
for a whole
on.
month.
Yes.
Then
Getting
we jump
serious.
to Hannah. She works at a diner, and Garrett shows up, and he is persistent. I will give him that. He asks her to tutor him again. And Hannah dumps him on another waitress. There was some A+ banter.
Yeah, I do love the Hannah Garrett banter.
I do too.
It's, yes,
It's really well written.
agreed. Then we get to the frat party. Hannah is there, and she dances with a different guy to avoid Garrett, which is very funny. Justin finally shows up, kind of chats with Hannah, but then immediately goes and talks to another girl. So she's like,
Let down, so she wants to leave.
so she leaves, but
She
Garrett
runs into
follows her, and she finally agrees to tutor him in exchange for them fake dating so Justin will notice her. Because Garrett, he's an intuitive guy.
Yes.
It's really like emotionally intelligent.
He immediately figured out that Hannah was into Justin.
Yeah. And he's like, I know Justin, we're friends. The hockey guys and football guys hang out.
You're not his type.
You're not his type, but I know how to make you his type.
You have to be popular.
Basically.
And you're not. See. Then we get to tutoring, and we're on our second session of tutoring, and Hannah shows up to Garrett's house, and she is pissed because Cassidy is a jackass.
Yeah.
And
he's like changing everything. So she like fell in love with the song
as it was written.
As it was written. He wants to like add a chorus, add a band, like all this stuff. And she's like, no, like we just need it to be simple. And he's like, no, MJ, what do you think? Flirt, flirt, flirt.
Yes. Turns out Cass asked MJ out. So, and MJ's like, plain Jane, like super sweet.
Typical, I don't want to say typical, unfortunately common girl with low self-esteem.
Yes.
Yeah. So Hannah's really upset, but she's off to tutoring with Garrett.
And he immediately knows that she's upset and asks her why. And she finally tells him this is it. And she plays both versions of the song for Garrett. And he's like, wow, you're really good.
Yes.
So it kind of helps her feel a little better.
Yeah. And he sees her point of view because he was like, I need to listen to both to see who's correct.
So they're like starting to actually become friends.
Yes.
There was a whole thing about One Direction songs on Hannah's phone that he deletes them. And there's a little more banter. It was
He
very
sends her a
cute.
playlist.
Yes. Very funny. Then we get to Garrett's away hockey game. They win, and we get to learn a little more about his really bad relationship with his dad.
Yes.
So his dad is a famous hockey player, won 2 Stanley Cups, and
his entire team idolizes his dad.
yes, but his dad is terrible to Garrett. Like, Garrett's only successful in his dad's eyes if he is winning hockey.
Yes.
Doesn't care about Garrett as a person. It's all about hockey and how he performs. So his dad's in the stands, and then he's waiting for him outside as they're like going to the bus to leave, and his dad just gives him a nod and then walks away.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be happy with that, but that's just me. Hannah is not, she doesn't go home to visit because her and her parents are the town pariahs because of what happened with her rape.
Her rape.
She usually meets her parents in Philly at her uncle's for the holidays, but her parents can't afford tickets this year. they took out a second mortgage on the house to pay her legal fees. So she's really sad that she won't see them for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And Hannah like cannot go back home.
No, she refuses.
Her mom like tells her, do not set foot in this town.
Yeah.
So toxic. It's really sad. Then we get another study session, which turns into pizza and a Breaking Bad marathon until 3 a.m.
Yeah, like one after the next.
Have you guys watched Breaking Bad?
No, I have not.
I
Same,
tried. It
no.
was a little intense for me.
I did one episode and then I did not.
You weren't as hooked as Hannah and Garrett.
No. There's some banter about the type of pizza toppings.
He ends up just getting her the pizza she wants.
Entire
and then
pizza of her
yeah.
own, which was so
He eats a
cute.
pizza and a half, and she eats a half a pizza.
Yeah. Hannah ends up sleeping over because it's 3 a.m. and he's like, it's a big bed. It's fine. Like we can stay on our separate sides. Yeah, sure. That really happens. They end up cuddled together. Garrett is so anti-relationship. He just wants someone to talk to. And he's like, well, I have Hannah for that. That's all I need.
The banter between the two of them is hilarious.
It was so good throughout the whole thing. I never grew sick of it. It was very good.
No, it was fresh. Like it wasn't the same like argument that they had over and over. It was
No, yeah.
Then Cass bails on rehearsal, and like we find out that MJ asks. That's when we find out that he asked MJ out, and he only bails on rehearsal because he's hungover. Because everyone went out, and they texted Hannah, but she was watching Breaking Bad till 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Then Garrett's like having a party at his place. Hannah calls him to move tutoring because a roommate wants her to watch a Ryan Gosling movie. So she called move tutoring from 9 p.m. to 7 p.m. Garrett obviously forgets. Hannah walks in and his roommates are like, you don't want to go up there right now. And she doesn't listen because why? And she walks in on Garrett doing the deed.
So
I think like
awkward.
Hannah's like personality was like, like she's like really like strong personality, like very like I do like in a good way though, not in a bad way.
Yes.
And just for her to be like, I'm going up there, like we're supposed to tutor.
Yeah,
Great,
like,
it's fine.
it's fine.
And then like her opening the door, be like, oh my gosh,
she like,
This is fine.
is like, I'm so sorry, and leaves and is like pissed. She's like, if he doesn't respect my time, I'm not going to tutor him. He chases after her and like unbuttoned jeans.
Time. I was very impressed with how he got moving.
Unbuttoned jeans, no shirt, and convinces her to still tutor him because, obviously we have to fake date at that party if you want Justin.
He's like, I'm doing this for you.
Obviously.
Right.
Then there's some rehearsing for said fake date after they're studying one night. Hannah and Garrett kiss, and it's like a life-altering kiss.
Yes.
So,
of course it
question.
is.
When did you guys ever have a moment like this?
Like a life-altering kiss?
I don't think
Like
so.
when you kiss the one, like obviously your husband's like, you're like, oh, this is different.
No. I hope no.
Maybe don't let them listen to this episode. And maybe that's why we're married to them, because it's a stable relationship.
Lord, I like how you're saving this.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Amity, did you kiss your husband and was like fireworks and you were like, this is the one?
I don't know that I was like, this is the one, but it was like a really great, not awkward at all first kiss. Like that felt special and different than other kisses had. I don't know.
Which is why, how many years later?
Yeah.
Oh,
How
like
many
from
years has it
then?
been? Yeah.
Almost 20.
Oh, wow. Yeah. My husband and I's first kiss was during the movie Back to the Future.
Excellent. Classic. I approve. I don't remember.
Oh, no.
I know. I don't remember. It
Lori's had a
was
lot.
COVID, okay? It was
Yeah,
COVID.
yeah.
I think we get some
Through
slack
a
there.
mask.
Yes.
Unprecedented times, okay?
A lot was
Did you
going
just
on
say
in the
through
world.
a mask?
Maybe that's why the bird
There you
echo.
go. This
Yeah.
checks out. Then while Hannah and Garrett are kissing, Dean, his roommate, walks in on them, and Hannah tries to play it off like, "Oh, we were just practicing for my date." And he's like, "Well, prove it. You could kiss anyone then." So she shoves her tongue down his throat, and Garrett's not happy.
Yeah. There starts the jealousy.
Yeah, she kisses Dean and then just hightails it out of there and leaves. Garrett then later, I think the next day or a couple days later, picks her up for the party and he walks in, man on a mission. He's like, "You're not wearing that shirt, change." Because it's like a shirt that doesn't show much. And he
Yeah.
has her
It
change
was like
into
the
this.
blue and white striped sailor sweater.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So he has her change into like a sweater that's low cut. And then he later regrets making her wear that sweater because everyone is looking at her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hannah tells him that her friend was drugged, and that is why she doesn't drink.
And he has like a feeling like he's like this he doesn't think it's her, but like he still is like unsure about it. He
Yeah.
was like, "Oh,
Like something else is something's
something,
going
yeah."
on. So they have a good time at the party. Like they talk to the football guy who's it's his birthday. Justin notices her. They like talk for a couple minutes. And then Garrett doesn't let her talk to him again because
He's like, "You need to play the game.
hard to get.
Hard to get."
And then they leave. And I think Justin later brings up like you've left a party twice that I've been to, and
Yeah, because she goes to a coffee shop and Justin's there.
yes.
And that's when he finally asks her out to dinner.
It's like, you've been at 2 parties I've been at, and you always leave with Garrett. So, and
And while he's telling her this, Garrett's calling her and sexy back by Justin Timberlake
over
is
and
playing.
over and over and over. And he's just calling to invite her to a hockey party the next day. We get to the ethics class, and Garrett gets an A- on the midterm. Which, that sounded like one hell of a midterm.
Yeah, I know.
Was it an essay midterm?
It was an essay midterm.
Yeah.
And he's a history major. And
So he's like wants facts and
yeah,
it's right or wrong, not like the
which I kind of
ambiguous
understand.
ethics
Yeah.
of
That's why I always liked math better because like math was like, boom, I can do it. This is one way to do it.
I don't know that I ever
But-
took like an ethics class like this.
I took
No,
one in
yeah.
college. It was fascinating, but it was like you have to write from different viewpoints, like why this scenario is what these different people would say, and you had to know that all the different philosophers, what their theories say. It was a lot.
Yeah.
Like that course sounded really hard. Then we go to the bar, and Garrett suggests that she drinks,
And then
he will hover over her, protect her, be the DD, and
Be your bodyguard. Be
it was so
everything.
sweet. So Hannah gets
No.
tipsy off some pina coladas. She sings some
So-
karaoke.
Oh yeah. And then she runs into her ex-boyfriend.
I know.
And this is where things just like
Devin, who she loved, but he could never get her there. Is that okay to say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's there with like this beautiful girl, who's actually seems very nice. And
Yeah.
Devin
He
seems
didn't
like a
seem
nice
jealous
person.
or anything.
No, like he seemed like a nice guy. But Garrett then finds Hannah crying in the hallway because Devin made a comment, which I don't think he meant to. It was in regards to Cass and like their terrible duet. And he made a comment that, "Oh, you're always better off alone." That was sad.
Yeah.
And then
Double
Hannah,
entendre there.
yeah, Hannah proceeds to get wasted. Really wasted. She ends up staying at Garrett's, and makes a comment about being,
pina coladas. Like,
I'm impressed. That's a lot
right?
of
Like, that's a lot of pina coladas. Even for you, Lauren, you're like, that's a lot of pina coladas.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it would what, take me two?
But also remember, she doesn't drink.
Yeah, so
She does,
it would take
yeah,
her two.
yeah. Like the only time she drinks is like Gossip Girl nights with wine?
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, Ryan
Yeah.
Gosling. Yeah.
Um, she makes a comment about being broken, but she can still have fun. Garrett like puts her to bed, then goes back downstairs, does like 5 shots. He's drunk, gets in bed. Hannah starts kissing him, and puts a stop to it. I was like, "Good job, Garrett."
Oh, he was so good.
I
That
know. And then Amity's gonna take it over.
So then the next morning, Hannah like talks to Garrett again and she's like, let's do this. He's like, no, what? And so then she confesses what really happened to her in high school and that she feels broken because she can't get all the way there with a partner just by herself. And so she's like, maybe you can do it. And we can just totally flip our tutoring sessions. Like you were helping me. I mean, I was helping you and now you can help me. Um, and because she tugged at his emotions, he's like, okay, because he was not about it. And then found out the reason and then was like, okay, fine. Not okay, fine. Like, heck yes, but that, that he would. And so then at practice the next day or that afternoon or his next practice, he reaches out to like a nice guy on his team to get some help on having sex with a virgin, because that's like kind of the closest thing he's
You
equating
can
it
think of,
to.
yeah.
And I really loved like the juxtaposition of the typical jock womanizer person with like the just for the most part normal guys, like some womanizing tendencies, but then like also some like emotionally there guys in this book. And this was a great example of that. So he takes that advice and she goes over basically in a trench coat and accoutrements. And he's like, what are you doing? Like, put on a t-shirt. Let's watch our show. That is certainly not how you set the scene. And so he puts on Breaking Bad and gets her clothes and they, begin. And then she is feeling great. And then something throws her into basically like flashbacks of, the worst night ever. And she has a great idea of great idea is not it, but like they do a great job of talking to each other through this.
Yeah.
Like their communication, not only is their banter good, but their actual talking during talking times too, like not funny banter times, but actual communication is pretty good too. And so he gets the idea like, okay, well, if you are able to do this by yourself and not when someone else is there, what if you do it to yourself while I'm also here? And I'll do it too. And it was like so awkward, but sweet. Like he was very, like I said, he's, emotionally intelligent, nurturing. His like expertise goes from kind of was like a very cocky, full of himself guy at the beginning, just because like I think that's how he talks. But like
Yeah.
that expertise that was so rude, like becomes like a genuine asset. And he's able to like treat it that way. It was like this was awkward to read, like word, oh, and I did this, and no, she did that. Like I no, it's like it's awkward, but it was a sweet scene,
Yeah.
if you
It's
will.
always so funny because I think that like he has this persona of being this like jock and stuff like that, but then when he's with Hannah, the banter is just so like it's like a different person that he's
Yes.
Jessica's.
yeah, exactly.
It's almost like he can be the same self he is with his friends.
Yeah,
With
with
her.
Hannah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
But he
but
still
then,
makes like the funny jokes, like when he sits next to her in class with his coffee, he hands her a coffee and he's like, "Hey, bestie," you know.
yes.
So it's still that like funny, goofy guy.
Yes. And it works. Like she, can get there with an audience. Hooray. Um, and so then she goes home and Allie, her best friend roommate, is like, where have you been? What's going on? Spill everything. And Hannah spills a lot. And it was like a sweet, friend exchange. And then they kind of start living their lives again. And Cass is a jerk at rehearsal again. And Garrett shows up at the end of that rehearsal and kind of sees dynamic between Cass and everyone else. And this is where, that cocky attitude comes back, but like with a purpose. And he calls Cass Chaz, and he's like, "Oh, you're not walking all over Hannah, right? Because sometimes she lets people do that, but real nice people wouldn't do that, right, Chaz?" And he's like, "It's Cass." It was, great. She like came to his rescue, and they, go for their new improved tutoring sessions, and with involvement, everything's making great progress. He got an A+ on his midterm, or A- or whatever, and it's like she's getting an A as well, and she's at their house, and after a tutoring session, he has to leave for practice. Practice is just a couple hours long, and he's like, "Just wait here. Like, I'll be back. Hang out here." And so she's like, "Sure." And the guys are nice. Let me make them a lasagna. And so she makes them a lasagna. And then it's Halloween. And Hannah had plans to do stuff at her dorm with her friend who, like, this is like, not that Allie's not a great best friend, but this is a friend who lets Hannah borrow her car, accepts her bailing out on her to hang out with her, like, new boy man friend. Like, this is a good friend too. But
Allie has her own book later on.
yes. But so Hannah was supposed to hang out at the dorm thing with her friend Tessa,
Yes.
and then realizes that like Garrett's doing nothing, and I'd rather be doing nothing with Garrett. So she heads to hang with Garrett, and they stay in. They're like both feeling like, what we should do is share our deepest, darkest secrets right now. So
It
Hannah
is
shares that.
Halloween.
Yeah, it's such an
Super
emotional
spooky.
holiday.
Yeah.
Super.
Hannah ends up sharing that her parents' financial struggles are from their legal fight against her rapist, which she lost. Um,
Yep.
and then he states that the reason he doesn't like Halloween is because Halloween was the first time his father hit him, and it kept going. And so she's like, my therapist sometimes says that you can just be less sad about things if you just create happy memories in that, space anyways. And so they have a very happy Halloween.
Well, so this is like the scene where Hannah shares her whole like the reason the whole town hates her.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because so she goes to trial. She's 15 years old. She goes to trial, and all of his friends go against her, like calling her all these names in court. The whole town is against her because was he the mayor's son?
Yes, I was actually surprised given the mayor's son thing that it went as far as a trial,
Yeah.
not that charges were never brought.
Oh, yeah. And then,
I mean, like for the story, like whatever, but
yeah. And so then so she loses the trial. And so the whole town, like she can't go into town because like people like call her names.
That's so awful.
And so his family made her family pay their legal bills too. So like her family is like completely in debt. So and it gets Garrett really upset when she tells him all of this. And he's like, I can't believe this. So, and then that's when he confesses about his father, the everybody's role model, that
yeah.
he hits him
Mhm.
or was hitting him until he was old enough to hit him back.
And so the next day he has a game, and he asks her if she'll come, and she says, "Yeah." And he's like, "You can drive my car and bring your friends." So that happens, and she goes with the friends, and he's very excited, and she has a great time. And on the bus back, and they won, everything was great. He's like, "Oh, she's my lucky charm, this is awesome." On the bus back, the teammate is like, "Hey dude, I see you're really into this chick, and I just feel like you should know that she has a date tomorrow with Justin." And he's real mad about it. And so he texts her, and this is one of my favorite parts of the book. So he texts her, and then he goes to her house, and he's like, "We need to talk." And then they actually do talking, and they communicate, and things are going well. And then he's like, something about, and how do you not, you don't know what this could be? Or whatever, because he like feels like it could be love and forever, even though it has been like 10 days or something. And she's like, "I mean, no? Question mark?" And he was like, "Oh, fine." And so then he leaves, and she's like, "Oh, he does really like me. I do really like him too. let me send a quick text to Justin to cancel tomorrow's date and I'll go chase after him. So she chases after him. Like, WTF, like you can't come in here all ready to like, hey, I know I told you I would never have a girlfriend because I just care about hockey and banging chicks. And now I care about you. And so will you be my girlfriend? Ready, go. Oh, you didn't answer fast enough. I'm leaving. And that's not fair. And so when I take a second, like I also like you. And so like if you're cool with that, then we could be dating too. And he's like, great. Okay. And I like I loved it so much. It was like not the I definitely remember like the first time reading this and it was one of those like, I'm at 75%. They had what like would have been the like third act breakup, second act breakup, I don't know, the late in the book breakup, but then they made it. And so like this is wonderful. Um and so then the drama at that point becomes that Cass basically went to his advisor and MJ just, stood there faithful and that kind. And they're kicking Hannah out of the duet for
Yep.
the scholarship competition.
So it's
And
not a
like,
duet anymore, it's a solo.
yes, now
But
it's a
just Cass.
solo with the chorus and a cellist and
And all the other stuff that Cass
right.
Just like
wants.
imagining like gospel.
Yes, that's what I was thinking, like Sister Act.
Yes.
It reminds me a lot of in High School Musical when the brother sister try and sing the song that Troy and
Oh yes, and
Valerie
Gabrielle.
Hudgens, but like it's like the happy-go-lucky version of it with like the bright lights and everything.
Yeah.
It's just like this whole
I did.
premise like reminds me
I'm
a lot of
sure
that.
MJ is the person who produced High School Musical, that the actress that played
Oh,
High School
yeah, yeah,
Musical.
yeah.
Yes, exactly that.
Yeah.
Um, so now Hannah gets to sing one of her own songs for the
Winter show.
yes, the
And
winter
she
showcase.
cellist.
She won
She
that.
wants
And she took that cellist with her.
mine.
Yeah. And so then we just get to see them like being cute and coupley together. He asked her to go home with him for Thanksgiving.
Well, I
And
don't think he had a choice in the going home for Thanksgiving.
yes, but he did have a choice in asking Hannah to come with him.
Yes,
Will
yes.
you come suffer with me?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
And so she's like, of course. So they go home for Thanksgiving and Garrett realizes, I don't know if we clarified or not, but Garrett's mom had died years ago. And
Mhm.
Cancer?
yeah,
Something? I
lung
don't.
cancer, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it you can tell by her mannerisms, and then they also see some bruising, but that Garrett's dad, not only beats Garrett and beat Garrett's mom, but is now beating his girlfriend too. And
Is she a younger girlfriend? Or the
she's
same, like older?
She seemed
younger-ish.
younger. I think she was like working as like a PR or something. I think
The event producer for like an event that they met at, and she had her
yeah,
own company that she sold
yeah,
a couple months after she started dating him because he misses her when she's at work.
yes. Garrett goes
And
to her after and's like, get out.
yeah. Well, his dad, tries to pull him to the side to have a conversation and like, oh, the last games that you lost are because you have a girlfriend. And he's like, no, they weren't. Also, you are an asshole and you're violent and you really just need help. And then on his way out, he has like a quick moment to have a conversation with the girlfriend too. Like, if you ever need anything, just so you know, this isn't just you. He's done this too. Like he did it to me. He did it to my mom. And you're not in the wrong. You're all of the right things that you say to somebody who's in that situation. And like, I am not going to try to take over the situation. I'm not calling the cops. I'm not doing any of that, but I'm here to
Yeah.
help you if you ever need it. And that was pretty emotionally trying, kind of seeing all that together. So, on the way home, they exchange I love yous. It was really sweet. And Hannah comes to Garrett's next game. And after that game, she bumps into one of the guys who testified against her in the rape trial in high school. And she's just like frozen. And Garrett instantly knows that there's something wrong. And she tells him what happened. And he's like, which one? That guy right there in the whatever? Awesome. And he just like walks over and basically starts a fight with him. And, Hannah had basically said, like, look, you can tell your coaches like why, what sparked this fight. And so they only give him a 1 game suspension. And then it's the next day, and Hannah's at the diner for work, and guess who shows up?
Garrett's dad.
Phil.
He has a great proposition for her.
Yeah. And so he surprisingly, of course, it's that time in the book, he tells her to break up with Garrett or he's going to cut him off financially. And I think she really understands the financial cost and things like that. That was a really compelling argument for her. So she does. And she's just like, you know what, this was fast and I should date other people. And
Goodbye.
yeah. And so he gets really upset and she's really mopey and he's really sad and mopey, but he's winning in hockey. And then it's the winter showcase. And Hannah, preps her song and her and the cellist perform the song and Hannah sings about Garrett the whole time and she sings so good and beautiful. She gets a standing ovation and afterwards he runs into her. He came and he was so funny at this point, like back to his
Yeah.
cocky, I have the whole world figured out self.
Yeah.
And rightly so. He's like, look, you said you wanted to break up with me so that you could see other people. How many other people have you been seeing? She's like, well, I've been really busy. And he's like, yeah, I don't think that's actually what you wanted. So I, you take your second or whatever, but like, I know that that's not it. So we should be together. And she's like, no, no, I need other people. And then it's Christmas break, and Hannah is able to meet her parents at her aunt's house in Philly because she can't go back home again. Um, so, and we find out there through some of like the dialogue that she did win the scholarship, like of course she would have. And at New Year's Eve, she's like, gosh, I'm so lame hanging out with my family and not doing anything cool. And she calls Garrett, who's just so happy to hear from her. And she remembers that it's his birthday and she wishes him happy birthday. And he's, like, hey, what's your number? Like, how many guys? And she's like, shut up, I'm just gonna find them later. And so she's like, crap, I really like when I get back to school, I'm gonna have to date somebody else. And so she gets back to school and she's like trying to date anything with legs. And she's
They all like turn her down.
they're like, ew, no, like I'm so busy. I can't, not you. And finally she calls up her friend's boyfriend. And I love this scene because he's like, why do you want to hang out with me? You want to go out with me? Like, are you trying to get me to cheat? I would never cheat on her. Are you there? Are you on speakerphone? I love you. Like, it was so cute. And she's like, no, I just want to do something with anybody. But like nobody's hanging out with me at this point. Why? And so he's like, I'm not supposed to tell you, but I'll tell you. Garrett basically said, you're a no-go. And so she's like, what? And so then she bursts into the guy's locker room and she's astonished by basically how naked they all are.
Yeah.
But she does find Garrett and they finally talk and she gives him the real reason why about the dad was going to cut him off. And he just kind of giggles because that birthday that she called to wish him was when he turned 21 and he's got that whole trust fund and he has more than enough to pay his dad back for everything as well as pay his expenses for the next couple of years. And so if his dad wants to cut him off, like whatever, he's cutting his dad off anyways. And so she's
Yeah,
like,
he ended up,
oh,
yeah, he ended up paying back his dad for everything. So he was like, I don't owe my dad anything.
yeah.
So
And so then all is well again. And, the story goes on a little bit. We get some more fun banter and everything, but they live happily ever after.
the funniest part about this scene is when she's talking to him and she's like, I'm so mad that you did this. And he was like, yeah, I thought to myself, like, you're not going to date anybody, but then you're going to have to prove me wrong by dating somebody. And then I don't want you to do that. So this is what I did.
He was playing chess while she was playing checkers.
Yes.
Exactly. So pretty funny. Okay, everyone, favorite characters.
Garrett.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I really liked him.
Yeah.
I liked all of the guys, like the hockey guys too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I now want to read the rest of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so the second book in the series is The Mistake. And so what happens at the end of this one is one of the guys his name's John Logan, and he has a crush on Hannah. And Garrett knows it, Hannah knows it. He's just like acting weird around Hannah.
Yeah.
And so he is the second book. So
It's not a wide choose, right?
what?
It's not a
Maybe that's the second book.
wide.
Yes.
All right. So we had quite a few themes and tropes in this book. Enemies to friends to lovers, fake dating, hockey. He falls first.
Oh yeah.
What did I miss?
I mean, like a healing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think of like how I actually thought it was really impressive the way Hannah spoke about like her background and everything.
You could tell she'd been to a great therapist.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So I think the author did a really good job of um like touching.
Yeah, and had a really supportive family. I was, glad for
Yeah.
that for her. Like at no point, that of course she felt, I think, a little bit like responsible for the finances and everything. But, she was there still at the expensive school out of state and, like doing her thing. So she was very well supported through that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Overall impression of the book, what do you guys think?
I'm gonna go 8.
Yeah, I'll go 8.5. I really, really enjoyed this book.
I also really enjoyed this book. I did not I enjoyed my reread. I will also go 8.5.
Wow.
I know. This is a big one for us.
It's 8.2 is the average.
Wow. I'm
Yeah.
impressed.
It's a really good quick read. And yeah, I enjoyed it. Was funny because I read this, I think last summer I read the entire series. And so the book with all of them as like out of college and it's called The Legacy. That's really good too. So
I read it all, but these were like some of my first books on KU, like in
oh really?
2021. Yeah. So I'm excited. Like I know the stories, but it's fun to revisit the stories.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting when the show comes out, which is probably not for a while,
Years.
years.
Yeah.
Um, but I think they were like starting to talk about casting and stuff. So
Oh wow, that's
I think this is going to be like their new summer book. Like, because after this, they have that. This is the last summer of Summer I Turned Pretty, and then
is this Netflix?
Amazon Prime.
Okay.
So I think this would be probably the following summer, like when they release a season every summer.
I wonder if books that are on KU, like if Amazon gets some sort of first right of refusal for the screenplay rights or something.
I don't know.
Oh,
A la Reese Witherspoon kind of deal
yeah.
going on. I don't know.
I don't know. Interesting thought.
You know, they have their book on
Um,
too. They can't have it anywhere else. Like on any other ebook platform. Like it can't be on Apple Books or
Oh, I didn't know that.
really?
yeah, I think so. Don't quote me, but I thought I read that somewhere.
Maybe if it's on Kindle Unlimited. Well, I don't know.
I don't know. I like saw something and I thought that was really weird. So if someone could tell us for sure.
Yeah. So, Amity, you read the sequel?
I'm pretty sure I did.
You haven't, Lauren.
No.
If you need when you're going to on your big trip.
So that trip, there is a book. It's like, hang tight. It's one about Iceland and the Northern Lights. So
Oh,
I'm not going to Iceland, but they're close enough. So I thought
yeah.
that was very fitting.
Maybe this can be your on your way back. Because you liked that other series with the sports. I
Yeah.
think you would really enjoy this
Okay.
one.
I'll do
So,
it. I'll do it.
Yeah, I
looking
read
at-
the whole series.
Okay. And they have like the children's too.
And then I
So-
read her Campus Diaries series as well.
What's the one with the daughter? Graham.
Graham. The Graham.
Yeah, the Graham Effect. Yep, I read that one as well.
Yes. And then they had a sequel to the Graham Effect too. Which
Yeah, I
with
think
the
that's a 3-book series. I read that
yes.
as well.
I don't know why the Graham Effect. I actually did not finish that one.
Oh, really?
I like stopped and like I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you're in the mood for something more deep.
I think
Yes.
it was a mood read
Yeah.
problem. I could try again.
I would read the other books in this series before I read the Graham Effect. I think the other ones were better than the Graham Effect.
Okay. All right.
Even I think with the next one's like the Dixie Effect or something. After the
Dixon?
what?
Dixon something? I don't know.
Dixon
Dixon,
something?
something
Yes.
like that.
So Looking ahead, we're gonna do a little Onyx Storm reaction episode. And then after that, we are going to read something Amity's super excited to read.
So excited.
We're going to read The Housemaid, which is going to become a movie released at Christmas next year by Frida McFadden. That's also another book talk. So maybe we'll have to see Amity's reaction to this.
I might be with Amity on this one.
I don't know. I gave it to a friend and she finished it in a day.
Okay, all right.
I haven't read it
Because it
yet.
was so creepy, she couldn't put it down because she was worried she was going to get murdered.
No, like
Amity, you have to read it during the daylight.
I'm sure it's a daylight book. I'm sure I'm still gonna like, all right, what are the days that maybe I don't know, maybe I'm getting up early and running with people, but like I don't want to run in the dark while I'm reading creepy things, but like I don't sleep well when I'm waking up early. I don't know. I gotta figure this out. It's certainly not a book I'll be reading on any trips.
okay, so Sydney Sweeney is set to cast in this. So like how scary could Sydney Sweeney be?
Hey, makeup can do a lot of things here.
I
Okay.
don't know that I would have like told you that like Jenna Ortega was creepy.
She does have those dark eyes though.
Yeah.
I could see her as Wednesday.
Who, Jenna Ortega?
Yes.
Yeah, but I don't know that I would have thought of her as creepy until like she's
She did.
been cast and set and put as creepy, and now I'm like, ugh.
Maybe this could be
Or
an
like
episode.
Blake Lively is no, is she in Verity?
No.
No, she was in
Who's in Verity?
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway. She's the Princess of Genovia is gonna be in Ver.
Coming out.
Yeah.
I know. I'm so excited.
No.
So
We'll see. We'll see. The person that I lent this book to, because I have the actual physical book, but I haven't read it yet because I'm waiting for us to read it together. Because I think that this should be a book where we post our texts as we're reading on Instagram, like
that's a good idea.
live reaction,
That's great.
just to see as we're reading it. So we need to start it together because none of the three of us have read it. Where
That's
other
a
ones
great
that
idea.
We're going in blind, people.
Yeah.
And then I think because it's creepy, I'm not gonna edit it like the episode.
Oh yeah, just go
I'm
for
just gonna
it.
add the front and the end and what it is, but I'm not listening to it again.
A raw episode.
You are not going to put yourself through that trauma a second time. You can have Brian edit.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to our reviews, rants, and ramblings. Remember, if you also read this book or any others we've chatted about and you review it on Amazon or Goodreads, please include that Schmindel Schmundlibiden sent you. And if you wouldn't mind a quick review on your podcast platform, we would be forever grateful. Have a great weekish, and we can't wait to read, review, rant, and ramble about the next book with you. Bye.